Welcome back to the Bad Tutors podcast. If you're here for the newest, up-to-date, accurate information about the nerdy topics that are near and dear to your heart, well, let me tell you, you ended up in the wrong place. Here, we are all about hot takes and grandiose displays of misinformation. So stick along for the ride and you might just blow a blood vessel or two. You join us now for the final part, the conclusion of SCP-001, the Ouroboros Cycle Proposal by DJ KAKTUS. Thank you for listening along to this series, and for my final solo intro, I sincerely hope you enjoy the ride.
So let me jump in here and recap. So
please.
We've got 4 people that are going around and killing all of the overseers of the O5 Council.
Members of the Chaos Insurgency, correct?
Yes. And so we are getting, with each of these overseer profiles, as they get fucking gatted either by a gun, a harpoon, or what have you. Yeah. We get a then, which is the past, and that is the view of the founder of the Chaos Insurgency. And then we get a now,
yes,
which is following Calvin, Olivia, Anthony. What's the last guy's name? Adam. Thank you. Yes. So that's how the format is. And
yes,
are they working in order, or is this all sort of?
No, they are notably they make other overseers will make mention to it going forward. They are specifically working down the line of overseers. Like they had to start with 13. That wasn't optional. Right. And then they kind of just went, well, we're already starting from the top. Might as well go down. There's no real specific reason other than it makes a better story.
Yeah, it's certainly easier for us, and then it's got some narrative weight to it too. So,
this one, what is the then on this one? This one is weird, is what it fucking is. We get a bunch of different cuts of different people. We see one of Anthony's perspectives as he's helping out, I believe, Adam, but they're in they're in orange jumpsuits and they're in prison or something. It's a little weird.
Sure.
Aaron Siegel is delivering news of a breakthrough of the first assembly of their new foundation. And everyone's real happy with that. They really like it. The incredible Ivory, who is Olivia, yes, thank you, is being tracked by some Foundation agents, and I couldn't figure out where is this. Calvin pulls her into a car to escape them. That is yes, this is the when her hippie commune of magic artists was raided by the Foundation. This is their meeting of Calvin. That's when they first meet.
Okay.
And then it cuts. A phone is ringing. We're going to be hearing that a lot going forward. In the distance, there's a fire and roaring of machines being sundered. The earth shakes. Arians keeps the car straight and the road even as it bucks and buckles. This is where we are seeing I believe, the complete destruction of the broken god.
Okay.
That's my interpretation of what that is. Yep. The rucksack. And then we get a very brief breakdown of a man splunking through a cave, and he comes up to a waterfall that is flowing upwards. And this is where we find the discovery of the Fountain of Life by one Dr. Frederick Williams. There isn't much there. It just is by the way, Frederick Williams found this. That's all that really is. In the now on this one, we're now getting to the point where I actually read these either today or last night, so they're a lot fresher in my mind too. So they should go a little bit faster, hopefully. Also, just the story picks up here. We are told of 05-7 Green. She is the more or less de facto leader of the 05 Council now. 051 is in charge objectively, but like when it comes to like handling day-to-day things, actually Green is the one that's in charge. And she's also fucking terrifying. Like everyone is absolutely shit scared of her. They talk in her journal entry of there was a joint mission between like Russia, China, and the GOC. And then they were like, all right, are we ready to go in? We're ready to send it and contain this anomaly. And then Russia went, oh, fuck, actually, we're out. And they went, what the fuck are you talking about? And they went, Green just landed. And they went, oh, fuck, yeah, you're right. Everyone pull out. Like, these 3 full coalitions go, oh, this one bitch is here? Maybe we fucking don't, actually. That's a bad idea.
Right.
That's how fucking scary she is. Okay. So, we're chasing after 057 Green. And they find themselves in the jungle for this. It's kind of just talked about how I think saying she likes chaos is maybe like too far into it, but like they're going through in like a part of Cambodia that is like in heavy revolution right now, and they're kind of just going, all right, here, why is an overseer coming to treat with revolutionaries? Don't be fooled, Anthony says. This isn't a diplomatic mission. Green gets off on this kind of shit. If she's here, it means that something disastrous is about to happen. So she just likes that kind of shit. And they're going through, and they split up to get to where they need to go, and Calvin goes to meet with his contact Vanderveer. He doesn't matter too much, and they get caught by what actually comes up as the MTF. Oh God, something Epsilon 11, the nine-tailed fox, I believe.
Yeah, that's
it's definitely the nine-tailed
11,
fox. Damn, I remember that offhand. Nice.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about writing like a little one-shot where you guys play as members of Epsilon 11.
Oh, really? That'd be fun. I've thought about doing some other MTF one-shots as well. But they get captured by them, everyone except Anthony. And they are captured and brought to Green. And she gives... she immediately... We hear a gunshot as Calvin wakes up, and we go immediately. I go, oh no, they can't kill one of the two, and it's Vanderveer. We've known him for 10 paragraphs. It doesn't really matter that much. It matters to Calvin, not to us. And Green says, all right, we're in the estate house or in the governor's manor, and there are, rioters and everything outside. I know you're here to kill me, but clearly I'm in the position of power here. So they go through, and she says, oh, let's play a fun little game. You pick what 2 of you get to leave and 1 of you has to die. You get to pick. And he says, after going through the absolutely fucking not, that's not happening. He says, all right, fine. Me. And she says, where is that? I'm just going to skip down to there. She's also, a southern gentle lady, which that's kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah.
Not much there, but it's kind of fun. She says, I'm going to offer you your lives for a life. Easy. Let me kill one of the 2 of them. Your choice. I am not unfair. And I'll let you do whatever you want to me. Kill, maim, butcher, whatever. Or, and here's where things get interesting, if you refuse, I leave you in this room. Go into that room. She pointed a pudgy finger at the door that had opened earlier and put a bullet into the neck of King of Yingko something or similar, the revolutionary leader. You and your 2 friends might make it out of here alive. But as soon as that throng in the streets finds their golden boy was gunned down by the troops now firing on them, they will set the whole countryside alight. And that is where Calvin, after a couple of responses, says, "Take me." Olivia says, "Take me, Calvin, you're going to kill one of us anyways. How else are we going to get the chance?" And he says, "Shoot me, let those two go." To which, of course, she responds with, "No, Calvin, that is not how the game is played. You don't get to choose yourself. You think this is some kind of noble sacrifice you're making? You would have thought after so many years of losing, the insurgency would have figured this out by now. There are no noble sacrifices, Calvin. Here is what will happen. You will choose one of your friends or those people out there, and I live or I die. If I live, I go back to work and replace the overseers you've killed. It certainly wouldn't be the first time. If I die, you get to go free, like you've won something for a moment. But then you are either killed by the masses outside these doors, or killed by our agents, or die of the flu or whatever. Maybe you kill another overseer. Gene is looking wobbly right now. He'd be a good target. Either way, eventually you'll reach a point where you have exhausted your efforts, and then you'll stop trying. You'll run into a mountain you can't climb, and believe me, that mountain is coming up soon, and you'll realize that this tower was built to not be climbed, and you'll give up. As soon as you give up, none of the deaths mean anything. It doesn't matter if it's you, or her, or me. And Calvin decides not to make a choice. And she says, "All right, well, I didn't want to fucking die in the first place, and even if this was going to be fun for me." And she walks into the other room, kills the revolutionary leader, and walks out. They're able to get themselves free. And in a pretty cool moment, Adam pulls out the Spear of Non-Believers again and lances 3 guys, and they just turn into fucking ash. And all 3 of them are like, "Oh, what the fuck? Holy shit, this thing is insane. Like, what is this fucking spear that we found?" He's able to shoot Green once, but not kill her, and she gets into a helicopter and is about to get away, and then through, I wouldn't call it luck because there's masses of revolutionaries. The 4 that we're following don't do anything to her. Just an RPG fucking hits the helicopter and she explodes. They all get out. But one interesting thing happens before that. Sorry, as I'm scrolling down. She's laughing at Calvin, and then Anthony comes up, who had been separate this whole time. And upon seeing Anthony, she says, "Ah, Vince, you were late. I had hoped I'd get the chance to catch up with you too." She blew him a big kiss and says, I'll tell Aaron you said hi when I next see him." So we now get the revelation that the man that has been through the insurgency through this whole time is the man we've been seeing flashbacks of, who has been more or less the voice of reason to Aaron Siegel as he's been going through his fucking villain arc. That's the actual man that we've been following this whole time. And he gets everyone out. They meet a Chaos Insurgency agent trying to get him a car. They're trying to go to this car park. And where is a bit that I'm looking for? He was, Anthony says, "Down there." He pointed at the end of the street. There was a carpool when I came in back. There's liable to be something that we can... He was cut short by the scream of something unnatural. Turning back toward the flaming wreck of the building next to the manor, they saw a fiery figure step out of the wreckage. Its skin had sloughed off to the side of its face, and one arm had been severed just above the elbow. It stumbled out into the street, trying to balance rapidly on melting legs. Its eyes were entirely gone. All that remained were empty sockets full of smoke. The figure turned towards them and opened its mouth. A foul moan echoed out of its charred throat, drowning out all sounds around them. It took one step toward them and then another. Instinctively, Calvin fired at it, and the bullet tore through the flesh and bone, and it had still inched forward. The figure moaned again and raised a hand, leveling a gun at Calvin's chest. He realized too late what it was, but by the time he heard of the crack of the gunshot, he was already on the ground. Standing over him was Anthony, hand clutching the side of his neck. Another crack, and he stumbled backwards as Olivia screamed and fired back. The blood pooling underneath his shirt, there was a third crack and the sound of a bullet ricocheting off the pavement as the holder of the gun collapsed into a smoking, smoldering, unmoving pile. Anthony turned as if to walk away and fell, only barely avoiding slamming into the pavement as Adam slid underneath him to break his fall. Calvin scrambled to his feet and rushed over. We see here as the team is losing it trying to save Anthony. For a moment, we see Calvin pull out the vial of crystal clear, shimmering fluid of the fountain of life. And the only thing Anthony tells him is, no, don't. Everyone wants him to take it, but he knows, and Calvin knows, that this is not what I want, not what he wants. And the last thing he says is, Vincent, he whispered, his voice hoarse and barely audible over the din. Arians. It was my name. Here, now, for you, Anthony. So we get, not that it wasn't already confirmed, but if it wasn't clear before,
yeah,
this is the man we are following, is that line. But it's for them as well, of course. They get up and they escape, and that is now when an insurgency agent finds them, and they get a car to get out to go find 056. Also, that it is one of the weird times of fucking magic. Like, to get rid of the body, Olivia takes out like this chalk and draws a bunch of lines over him, and then it says, as they all solidified into a glass cocoon around the body, Olivia brought down the other end of her brush into the center of the figure, shattering it. The glass collapsed, and suddenly the air was filled with a prismatic cloud of crystal butterflies, each sounding a single note of a song that played around them over the chaos of the fighting beyond. So, like, magic.
Right.
It's not, like, I don't know if that's something in other SCP stuff. I've certainly never seen it.
But it's
like,
right here.
Maybe it is. It's right there. It's certainly there. Going to the American, the boy, our best boy, the fucking leader of the U.S. military.
Number
Not
6.
actually true. And we again start then with Arians and Aaron Siegel. This is now where we get another meeting of them with Sophia Light. They have established the Chaos Insurgency. They're talking about who's left, who's defected, who isn't there. And Sophia comes in. And Arians is not happy with her, calling her just a Foundation spy, because as I said, she did not defect with them. And she says, "Put the gun down, you idiot. I'm not here to kill you." And then shows she's doesn't have any weapons or anything. She says, 0513, you sent a message to Edward Bishop, 0513, at all the same melodramatic prose as ever. I knew it was you. She goes on to kind of explain, hey guys, what the fuck? You killed the administrator, you left, and you basically left me in charge to scramble to pick up these fucking pieces. And she they kind of tell her what happens. She kind of doesn't fucking care because they just left and betrayed absolutely everything. And here is where she even kind of agrees that this is not good. The Foundation isn't necessarily good, but it's the necessary evil that it is, and they agree to go with her to fight off that evil, I'll say. She says, we're gonna go investigate this. I want you to come with me. And Arians and Siegel say, hey, whatever we find in there, you have to know we're killing it. You get that, right? You understand that. And she basically says, all right, fine, but we need to do this together. And they leave. Cutting to the three of our protagonists escaping in, I believe, still in Colombia at this point.
Is it Colombia? I thought it was Cambodia.
It was Cambodia. Thank you. I knew it started with a C.
There you go. You're getting there.
And they're assailed. They meet one of the members of Delta Command, who basically goes, hey, good work. You're fucked, by the way. A full US battalion is here to fucking kill you. Like a whole 10,000 man battalion. Probably a Foundation ship is here as well. And for sure a Foundation ship. And they go, well, it's the 6th Overseer. And he basically goes, well, he's a fucking braggadocious American cowboy asshole. He's actually the Union general from the past. But he goes, your real option is to make him do something stupid, because he's so well protected that's the only way it would possibly fucking work, which is the most American thing I've ever heard. And we get a little cut of a box being pulled out of a heavily contained Foundation site. And we're not sure what that is for a second. And we're taken. They meet the American, and he basically goes, all right, I could kill you right now. I could have killed you before, but I'm coming to you as an American citizen, not as an overseer. I stand for America, and the Foundation is kind of how I forward that goal. I don't really give a fuck about the Foundation. I care about this. You know that fucking spear you have? Yeah, America wants that. America wants the spear. Because it's a spear that can kill gods. And we are also told now here that the American says, after asking if he knows what it is, he says, I know what it's called. Calvin says, I know what it's called. Sure thing. But you don't know what it is, the American laughed. When we found that thing, it was locked in the dusty grasp of some ancient king. Definitely cursed. Though, the lives we spent just trying to pry it out of that bastard's grip, well, I'll spare you the details. Just believe me when I say it took some doing. That spear there is the spear they used to pierce the side of Jesus Christ himself, and the only one in the world that could have done it. How it ended up in the Romans' hands, I'll never know, but it did the trick then, and apparently it can do the trick now, too. See, he continued, that spear is old, Calvin. It's got a sort of magic about it that you just don't see anymore. That thing is capable of doing the things it's capable of doing surpass any army or bomb I could come up with. You think if Jehovah or Cthulhu or this flying spaghetti monster descended from the heavens and decided to fuck up the United States, well, we have any kind of weapon that can deter their advances. No, we do not. But that spear could. That spear can kill gods, Calvin. I don't know if there's anything more deadly, if there's a more deadly stick in the entire world, but maybe the whole goddamn universe. And it's sitting in the back of your car right now. So here's the deal. Give me the spear. I make America safe again, and you get to go about on your merry business with your lives, killing overseers, overthrowing governments, whatever you want. And Calvin goes like, you get that you're part of this too, to which he goes, I could kill you fucking whenever. So like, I'm going to give you a head start. Have fun. I haven't been able to like really exercise my power in a while. So I'm going to do it, have fun, and I'll take it off you if you want, if you'd rather do it that way. So they do that. They pick that one, obviously. And Adam takes them to a village from when he was young. And most of where he grew up. And we find that there is a very pus-filled, disgusting man that he used to know as, let me see here, Father Bramamont. He's talking to him in Russian here. And he says, welcome home. And they're kind of hiding out here when they're up a big mountain, which I think is part of, I now see as foreshadowing from Green, saying you have an insurmountable mountain to climb that was not meant to be climbed. This was a very steep mountain that the U.S. military should not have pushed up as far as they did, because what they do after we get a little bit of an exchange of like what the fuck is going on here, this village that they find themselves in were for people who got sick and they were sent to the mountains so they wouldn't infect people, but it didn't actually matter, and everyone got whatever it was again. They got really fucked up and they turn into these, like, we're gonna see in a second, these like little flesh monsters. I'm not sure what SCP they're meant to be really, but the more interesting thing is take a guess at what that steel box they carted out here was. It's something that the American says the Foundation has tried to kill multiple times, so no matter what happens here, one of you is ending up dead and dealing with one of my problems. What do you think he's going to drop?
The unkillable lizard.
Correct.
Really?
They dropped fucking 682 on them. I know. Dude, again, that's another one where I was losing it. Like, there's definitely like a couple references further up that I didn't read the quote for, but like half a page up, I was like, there's no fucking way they're about to drop 682 on these people. In just on this village. And then I even looked up, because then I was like, fuck, the Spear of Non-Believers can kill gods. Can it kill 682? Holy shit, are they going to kill 682 in this story? And I looked it up, like I just Googled that. In the top comment on the Reddit post of would it be strong enough to kill 682, they say it can kill gods, but 682 isn't a god. Would it work? The top comment was, go read Ouroboros Part 4. It was just like, go read that. And I was like, oh my god, they're actually going to drop fucking 682. And to that effect, it says here, continuing up the path to the mountain was a line of tanks slowly crawling across rock and gravel, men in personnel carriers and on foot followed behind a long winding column that stretched as far down as they could see. And at the head was a line at the head of the line was the American, standing atop his Humvee, smiling, holding a long black whip. He brought it over his head with a deafening crack, pulled it down across the body of the creature in front of him. It was a massive, vaguely reptilian with too many eyes and mottled green skin. It had thick, long strands of oily hair dragged across the ground with every plodding step. They're just describing 682 here, but the idea, again, we're on the top of a mountain with a bunch of what we're going to soon see as flesh monsters. The U.S. military is marching a full battalion up it to kill 4 people with an unkillable lizard, and one of the heads of the Illuminati is standing on top of a Humvee whipping an unkillable lizard. What the fuck is happening right now? What is going on? I do get it, but what the fuck? So they're going through, and then this is just Father Brambamund comes out, and he's kind of the one that challenges 682. And he goes, "I have ascended," he said with sloppy orgasmic stupor. Don't like that, but whatever. And he becomes this flesh monster. Can I find a quote for that? Yeah, so he turns into a pile of meat, and then it says, "The pile of meat began to writhe, and up from it becomes an abomination. It was sick with blood and fluid, all pink, red, and yellow. Its face, if you could call it that, was long and bore no notable features. It had many appendages, and more that came unfolded from its back and hung akimbo from its sides. Father Brambibun's loose skin lay discarded on the ground, but his hateful flesh screamed its birthing cry." I think this is just the flesh that hates. I don't remember what number that is, but I also can't confirm it because I haven't specifically read that one. I've only watched a couple videos here and there on it. And then it's just a big fucking fight scene. Eventually 682 is, air quotes, completely devoured by these flesh monsters. And then a cute little version of it just fucking scampers away because you can't kill it. But as well, at some point, the American is shot and is just pulled into these, what I'm going to call the flesh that hates, and maybe be wrong. And he's killed there. It looks like Olivia just shoots him, and he falls and caught himself with a chain, pulled it away, covered in blood. He's just devoured by them. That's how the American dies. And they're going through, going around, they get away from everything. The three of them are still fine. And then they stop the truck, Suddenly, Calvin stomped on the brakes, sending Olivia and Adam into the dashboard and onto the floor respectively. They scrambled up, each pulling a weapon as Calvin did the same and stepped out of the truck. Standing in the road in front of them was a small, strange-looking man. His eyes were slightly too big for his head, and he had a hooked nose and neatly parted hair. He was wearing a three-piece suit with bow tie. In his jacket pocket was a silver pocket square with a dark crown embroidered onto it. As Calvin cautiously stepped towards him, the man smiled warmly and extended his arms. "Good evening," he said. "I hear you are going to soon be looking for me, yes?" As we meet the next overseer. But this time, they don't have to look too hard as we meet the Blackbird. This is an interesting man. We'll get into that. Oh, wait. We have before. Not then. Before. This is before. This is a very different time. And if you're curious, no, I did not cross-reference all of them to see if they actually line up correctly, but I'm probably guessing they do. I'm guessing all of the thens are about Siegel and Aryans, but I did not actually think to go back and check that.
All right, well, we'll just...
We will certainly see. Okay, so this is what I didn't want to accidentally spoil before. They're talking to Anthony about being alive during the schism and trying to figure out what happened and why he hates the engineer so much.
Okay, so
and this
before is Olivia, Calvin, and Adam talking to Anthony.
Yes, and it is also important to note before they know that he is Vincent Aryans as well, because he would have been alive. Obviously, he's still alive because he's talking about all of the things, ending Abaddon once and for all. Talking about Felix Carter and how he's the one that before they did the whole deal with death, he was the one that figured out how the children would be used. Right. And then this is where we get that Aaron Siegel is the engineer. We hear it officially. He said they buried it and it could only be used with the activation word, and the only person who knew what that word was defected with us. Aaron Siegel, the engineer, the man who is currently the first overseer. When they realized they couldn't use it anymore, they split it up into its component parts and kept it from being activated, and he could never use it again, word or otherwise. So, as I've kind of, I believe, hopefully well enough, kind of hinted at, a couple chapters back, I was already I was trying to piece it all together, and eventually arrived at Aaron Siegel is the engineer. But now we get official confirmation he is both people. Both people are him is the correct way to say that. And they say, what made Aaron Siegel go back? And Anthony responds, arrogance and lust. They called with a better offer, and he had picked up the phone. Again, talking about phones. We get a lot of phone references. When we defected, Aaron Siegel killed the administrator, thinking that that would put an end to the Foundation. But the administrator was just one man. The Foundation was much more decentralized than it is today. The difference between then and now is a matter of scale. The Foundation of today is fully realized itself, and its core is less a connection of a few veins, more its bleeding, beating heart. There is power in the directors and everything, and true authority rests with the overseers. When they're gone, the Foundation will be a snake without its head. So he's basically, to sum that up, saying, back then, killing the overseers didn't fucking matter. Now it does. Right. Now they know what they are, and if we do this, then we will end it. We will be done with this. And he goes on, he says that on top of or below most Foundation sites, there are nuclear devices, and certainly, there is a button that only 051 has access to that will be able to set off all of these nuclear devices and destroy the Foundation. And they say, how do you know? And he says, because I designed it. I'm the one. He says, we didn't have nuclear weapons when I designed it, but the concept is the same. You could even do it from the desk, one button, and poof, it's all gone. That's our play. That's how we do it. Now, we go to the Blackbird, and this one is fucking trippy. Not that the rest of them haven't been weird. This is maybe the saddest one in a weird way. They go through, and he's weirdly, very polite, and he offers them, as he says, a way out. And he kind of goes through, and this might be a little bit out of order, but we kind of learn, I believe a little further in, that he starts out saying, hey, if you want to you want to try and kill me, put a bullet through my eyes right now. I try, do it. I want you to do it. And they go, no, that's a trap. And he goes, all right, fine. And slits his throat and slams a knife into his skull. And then he just gets back up and he's like, all right, fucking see, you get it now? You understand where we're at with me? I don't die still. The 13 had no bearing on whether or not I die. And he takes them on a trip to London. But it is an old London. It's a London back during the plague. But it's a London during the plague where the whole world, other than London, is dead. Completely dead. And he says, this is where I am from. I am from this world. And I learned that I can hear into other... Oh, wait, it matters. Because again, he says other universes. Dimensions are different. That is a clear distinction. It doesn't matter realistically, but if I say the wrong one, correct me. They are universes, not dimensions. I don't know what the fucking dimension is in this case, but whatever. Maybe the Wanderer's Library is a dimension. Who knows? And he goes, I could walk through these. And I walked through one because I was a useless orphan in this one. And I went, this is bullshit. Why would I stay here? And he walks into another one and he finds himself. And then they walk into another one and they find themselves. And they get all of them. Because as he said, or as he says, universes are not infinite. It may seem that they're They are infinite to our perception, but there is a hard limit. So there are only a certain amount of them to go through. And he says, I give you a way out. And they basically go, oh, what? You're just gonna fucking kill us? And he goes, no, you don't understand. I just like, you want to not be in the world where the Foundation sucks and you hate them. I'll put you in one where it's good. Or not like the Foundation is good, but like you don't have to deal with it. So they basically don't have a fucking choice and they have to go through with this. And we get their 3 different perspectives of essentially what is their perfect reality. So Adam finds himself in a warmly lit room on a shaggy carpet. He's in a pretty nice apartment in Portland, Oregon. And he's talking back and forth with the Blackbird as we kind of get like, what the fuck is going on, because this is the first time we're seeing what is happening here. And he says, well, this is the world where you were here for a point in time in your life and you weren't able to stay, but it's clearly where you were happiest. This is a world in which you were able to stay. And we even see there's one other person there, and it's Calvin Lucian, who, assuming I am interpreting it correctly, is there with Adam with a wedding band on. And it's kind of the first hint that we get that there might be some feelings between Adam and Calvin, probably only from Adam. The Blackbird also talks of a girl that he met that has kind of the same powers as him. Her name is Allison, and they kind of discovered how their power worked together. But that's all we get from Adam's perspective, is like, this is his perfect world that he would be in. We see Olivia's next, and this is she's on a boat with a bunch of art supplies and stuff to be an artist and do her magic shit. And a man that I swear wasn't mentioned before, probably wasn't at least, Taven, who was the man that she was in love with before the Foundation came and shut down her hippie commune and killed them all. Taven Laredo. I don't think he was mentioned before, but if he was, my bad. And she's there with them on a boat, and he says, hey, she's like, where are we? And he goes, wherever it's a boat, wherever you want to be, this is what you want. And then finally, we get Calvin's perspective. Now, I did skip it previously on purpose. We see a scene that we've seen before from Calvin. When they were talking about their backstories, Calvin told a story where he saw his mother be pulled into, I again can't remember what SCP it is, the one where it's a bunch of bodies in a lake and you just get pulled into it. We haven't talked about it very much, but it doesn't, the context of it didn't super matter. Basically, shorthand version is there's a lake where there are bodies in it, but you can't actually see the bodies, but they call to you and drown you and you become part of the SCP. That's the short and long of it. His mother died in this. Now, he was not able to save her, but we get another flash of it where he turns around and there was someone calling to him, and he had to make a choice whether or not he wanted to save his mother or talk to this person, but he got a strong draw. And that person, when he chose this over his mother's life, is where he got the canister that holds the spear of the non-believer. That's where he originally got it. Where it came from in context of that, I obviously know but can't tell you yet. So that's where that originally came from. And now we see this scene again, which is why I wanted to just talk about all of it here instead, because it was a very short part of it. The Blackbird takes him here, and even he's kind of going, I assume you're taking everyone to where, because he goes, oh, you have a choice. You can save your mom. You can do the good thing this time. You can do the win this time. And he goes, basically, it's the realization of, no, I've already made this choice. I know that the correct answer is not save my mother. As much as I want it to be the correct choice, I know for a fact that it's not. So he looks to the person, where the person would be that he saw before, and the blackbird is fucking shook. He's very shook, and he says, you did this? And they go, Calvin, adult, goes to talk to them, and it is a different, I don't know if it's outlined, but just for clarity, since you are not fully reading it, it is not the same person that he saw in his real life. It is a different cloaked figure, but acts in the same way and hands him a canister and says, this is not what you think it is. Take it and see. He does it, takes it out, and they're a pair of black wire-framed glasses with gold runes marked along the sides. He puts it on, and he sees now the blackbird for what he is. The blackbird, as I described, was a short, kind of quirky-looking man. And where does it describe him? So, when he looked back up through the slightly blue-tinted lenses, the meadow and the lake and the woods were still there. However, instead of the blackbird, there now stood a towering monstrosity. Some horrific pseudo-avian creature with dead eyes and fetid, rotting flesh. He could see through its thin, matted feathers to within, where a swirling mass of faces howled and cursed, each pressed up against the sides of their container as if it were near to burst. When the creature opened its foul beak to speak, he could hear the blackbird's voice echoed over infinitely many incarnations of itself, a sinister cacophony of misery and pain. And they go through, I offered you life. I offered you freedom. I offered you your mother. No, that's not my mother. She's his, pointing to the younger version of himself. My mother died a long time ago because of abominations just like you. And the blackbird basically goes, all right, well, fuck you. I can reality walk. You can't. I'm going to fucking leave anyways. Fuck you. And the figure says, turn over the canister again, quickly. And this time, instead of a spear, he pulls out two things. He pulls out Dr. Wondertainment's interdimensional line and lure, a fiberglass fishing rod, and behind it, a plain white wiffle ball bat with a taped handle in the words, Bird Be Gone by Dado, written in black marker. And he goes and reels and hooks the blackbird. And throughout, we see as throughout many different dimensions, he's hooked onto the blackbird and is just beating the fuck out of him with this wiffle ball bat. And it's like basically, because he can't die in one. He has thousands of, a near infinite number of himself trapped within him. So it's just like knocking out bunches of them constantly. It's like the only thing that's affecting him. And they're going through a bunch of different fucking Fairly Odd Parents channel surfers going through. Until they end up in part 3, Atonement, where they are next to what I'm pretty sure is the Singularity. Because if it's not, I don't know what the fucking point of part 3 was, if it's not here. So I'm pretty sure it's that, because the blackbird realizes Allison has been helping him, because she like specifically comes out and she drops the power to the super collider, for lack of better term, and who I believe is Calvin Desmet goes, ooh, destroy all anomalies, and zaps him out of existence completely, because it's, where is it?
Because the blackbird is anomalous, right?
Yes, it's, where is, Okay. It closed its hand and the blackbird seized. There was another rush of air, and Calvin could feel the breath being pulled from its chest. He leaned around the platform just in time to see the blackbird pulled into a single superheated point and sizzle out of existence. The room began to shake violently, and Allison reached up to hit the handle on the platform. The lights began to flash again, and the machine spooled up. Moments later, they sat huddled behind the platform. The air settled, and the roar subsided. To me, that sounds like the same thing that was outlined as happening to the overseers in Atonement. So I'm assuming that's what this is. It says this is a being of near unparalleled power. It took me a long time to find it, and I had been searching for it for years. This is the only reality where it exists. So you had to come here. So that I believe was set up because it was the only way to defeat the Blackbird, because it's the only reality where it existed. That's the only time that Calvin Desmond and that singularity were pulled together to be able to do this. Because again, I don't know what the point of the story was otherwise. So I think it has to be that.
Okay.
And then we get a little bit with Allison here and there of how is you can reality hop and stuff, is the Foundation always fucked, and like all of this kind of stuff, and a little bit like, yeah, kind of, and also not, just going back and forth with all of that. What is the elsewhere here? Fuck. Oh yeah, and then we have fucking moving into the next overseer. They meet up with Sylvester Sloan, which is like, all right, fine,
okay.
Okay. But we now have an elsewhere, and we see Aaron Siegel, and we see him going down an elevator, and there's a bunch of machines that are just pumping and going and putting up metal plates and munitions and a bunch of stuff, and they're going through and talking to some people for a second. What is this? He says, he's giving orders. He says, "Do you hear me?" The foremost bald humanoid figure in flexible armor nodded. "We do. There are agents of the insurgency who have gotten their hands on powerful and valuable artifacts. They have already killed 7 of the overseers. Myself, the Nazarene, and the kid are protected. The ambassador has gone missing and will likely be the next target. These are the last known coordinates." "What is the mission?" the figure asks. Another figure asks, lean, clearly feminine with cropped hair. "Find these 3. If you can, bring them to me. If they resist, kill them. They are carrying 2 very valuable artifacts, a journal and a spear. Bring me the artifacts." It says, show them where he's at. Show them where he's at. Find them. Go now. Irantu, Muntu, Nanku, and Anru. Find the insurgents. Bring me the artifacts. Be my red right hand. So we get the red right hand coming back into it as directed specifically by Aaron Siegel. So clearly we have had, I think, see, this is where I can't tell if it's this story or SCP canon, because I have said in our other episode, the red right hand formed the Chaos Insurgency. I think that still might be true because they had other members than just what was laid out in the test with the children there with them.
Right.
But it also seems like maybe a bit of a cover-up of like, yeah, the Overseer's boys defected. Oh no, what happened? So weird. But it was really just the actual Overseers completely defecting and then putting it on them. All right, fuckboy time.
This is gonna be crazy.
Yeah. This one's this is actually one of the more normal ones, weirdly. Yes. In our before this time, we are in Overseer Command, where there are 13 chairs, and it is the Overseer Council that we know that we've been talking about. It's the current one. A great line is they're talking about like things being fucked and you got to kill people to get things done, and the Blackbird says plenty of things, yes, great and terrible things. The Egyptians murdered thousands to build their pyramids, to which the accountant responds, I believe the pyramids were actually built by Elvis and Tupac, though I may be confusing that with Atlantis. And there's nothing to follow up that, so like, is one of those, I want to believe that one of those two statements is true, but you know, no time. We're already going. We're already cruising. There's just no time. Great line though. But they begin talking about the spear of the non-believer, and this is where we get like, you know, the deeper kind of backstory into it, and it's maybe a Davite charm, Davite thing. That's a whole different fucking religion. That the big scheme of SCP doesn't matter really. They're just a different big religion. And this is where they're going through and they go, all right, so this is the big weapon that isn't the other big weapon. Like we need to store this somewhere. We need to figure this out and like keep it safe. And a bunch of them go, is there a place safer than this? And the AI that they're talking to just goes, no, of course there fucking isn't. This is the Illuminati headquarters. Of course there is not anything more fucking secret than this. What are you talking about? But Aaron Siegel decides, well, it's not staying here. It can't stay here. So I'm going to give it to Sophia Light, 052. And she takes it away with her. And it disappears. And that is what we learn of the Spear of the Non-Believer. Also, fuckboy McGee, the ambassador, being a dipshit. But, you know, that's his point. He's literally the PR front. That's like his only fucking job. All right. So, we break into the ambassador, into a fuckboy McGee. What is it actually? John Lemieux Bertrand, or John Ibrahimi, depending on at what point in time we're talking about. And we are told from members of Delta Command that they meet up with that the ambassador simply wants to surrender to them. He says, hey, I just want to live, and I know that shit's fucked. I'll surrender and give you whatever information you want. Please just don't fucking kill me. And he says specifically he knows where the all-seeing eye is. The all-seeing eye is the alternative name for 05-3. So the members of Delta Command meet up with him, and we have this whole interaction where Calvin and not Sylvester Stallone, Sylvester Sloan go anyways, and they meet up with him. And after being pulled out of their perfect universes, Olivia and Adam are notably not the happiest. Like, they're not upset with him, obviously, but they're, you know, pretty downtrodden about no longer being in their perfect universe. So he says, hey, you guys just fucking stay here. Don't worry about it. Stay on the plane. We'll deal with this, and then we'll see what comes of it, because none of them are really happy that they're trying to side with him instead of kill him. But as we just saw at the end of the last story, the Red Right Hand finds them, and there's a big blowout fight on the tarmac of the airport where they were. And not only does the ambassador just get fucking gunned down by the Red Right Hand, it looks as though the plane that Adam and Olivia were on gets blown up. And Calvin assumes that this is true, as he is knocked unconscious by one of the members of the Red Right Hand. And where he wakes up is already going to be the next section. That's all fuckboy McGee does. He proposes a surrender and then gets fucking killed. That's all he does. He's useless as he was in life, as he is in fucking death. Yeah, that one's quick. Some of them are quick. Moving on to the third overseer, the kid. They wake up, or I should say, oh, what's this before? Oh, yes, this one we see that Sophia Light is dying again. This before is the signing of officially the agreement with death. So as we've said, they definitely had one. It had been established, and it was kind of just shown and assumed that it was because all of them needed to live to be able to, like keep doing their things. And this is where we get the reference that the Nazarene or Sophia Light is probably Jesus, because she has the wounds in her wrist, the stab wound, and in this the Blackbird says, "I've made no such promises. I said I could delay the inevitable, but this is the inevitable, Mr. Siegel. She is fortunate to have lasted this long. Those nails were not designed for someone who survived a crucifixion." So maybe she's Jesus? That's a little weird. I still don't know what to really make of that part, but like,
seems
whatever.
like it, right?
It does. Like, it really seems like it, but like, I don't... Is it just because they wanted Jesus to be an overseer? I don't really get it. And why is it a girl? I don't know. That's a weird one, but we're walking past that.
Death was a girl in this.
Death was a girl.
Apparently, Jesus could be a girl. It's just...
Could be.
It's just... Yeah.
Yeah.
Just taking some creative liberties is all I see it as. But...
that's fair.
Isn't the Nazarene, isn't that like something biblical too? I don't know. You went to Catholic school. Help me out.
Not long enough to be able to know all of it, but like, yeah, that's certainly a biblical reference as well. And like, it's definitely like associated with this, but she's dying from this now. They've had the fountain of life, and been able to do that, but not actually fully keep her alive. And it turns out that she is one of the people that voted against making a contract with death, as well as Aaron Siegel, pretty much based only on the fact that Sophia Light also did not want to do it. So here we now see, as she lays basically dying, he signs not only his name, but her name as well, finally sealing the pact or the contract with death, to which she awakens and says, "Oh, Aaron, you didn't." So we see that the contract with death was finalized, maybe not conceptualized, but finalized with almost completely selfish intentions. Which, like, that I don't really have a big statement to make about that, but like, it's what it looks like, because Aaron did not agree with it before, but then when his girl was about to die, right. Well, now things have changed.
His girl, Jesus.
His girl, Jesus. So here we see Calvin awaking on his own in just a big fucking facility, like your classic like sci-fi looking facility, and he's talked to through this robotic voice that we discern to be the third overseer. He's going through and he's seen what am I trying to say? This is the kid, and he says, the kid says, "I know what you want to do. You're here to kill me. You're here to kill my father and my mother too. I don't want you to do that. Ms. Green says that people who kill like you do are evil." And they're going through, and he this is an interesting one. He's able to find Olivia and Adam, and he says the red right hand is there, and he goes, "I'm gonna fucking kill all of you now. Time to die." And then Calvin pulls out the fucking Wondertainment rod again and rips out what I assume is another SCP that I don't know about, as he pulls out just another flesh monster again, pretty much, it looks like. And they go fucking toe to toe for with the red right hand for a while, and eventually that all sorts. This is a big battle scene, so like there's not a much that's like actually worth recounting. It's cool to read, but it doesn't add to anything necessarily. Olivia does more magic to make a big crystal shield that they can hide from. Adam starts hacking some stuff, and eventually the fighting stops, and the kid just where does it say? The kid says, "Enough, enough, enough. I've had enough. No more tricks, no more monsters, no more." And Calvin, I am going to read this. Calvin hears something spooling up. He turned over his shoulder just in time to see a gun barrel extending from the wall trained towards them. He pulled his own gun out and fired towards it. A single plume of smoke erupted from the end of the sleek metal tube. He had time enough to look towards Olivia, whose face was scrunched up and puzzled. She didn't have enough time to look back or even to take another breath before the bullet passed through the back of her skull and out between her eyes. Her expression softened as she looked as if she wanted to say something and then collapsed. Calvin screamed. He turned to Adam, who was sitting stunned at the panel, his expression blank and shattered, and grabbed his backpack. He pulled the ornate metal cylinder out of it, and from it he withdrew the spear of the non-believer. He took it in both hands and pushed it into the panel, and with an inhuman roar shoved it all the way through the other side of the machine. Another gun barrel appeared, and Calvin turned to fire at that one as well, but another bullet screamed across the room before he could disable it. Adam yelped and grabbed at his back, and he too collapsed. And now I'm going to take a little bit of a break as we go before I start reading something again. This is where Calvin takes the spear and breaks this fucking panel open, and he sees inside a tank with a child in it. And it's a crazy fucking deformed child, of course, that's been fucked up beyond all belief, has like a big thing carved into its, I believe, an SCP Foundation logo and like magical shit carved into it. And with a blind rage, Calvin reached for the opening and grasped the squishy, wriggling infant in his bare hands. He squeezed so hard he felt as if his arms would break, as if his eyes would burst in his skull. He squeezed until his hands cracked and his ribs groaned from the effort. He squeezed until he felt meat and blood running between his fingers, until everything that could be broken had been broken. He squeezed until the echoing laughter in the chamber faded into the sound of rushing water and Adam's gasping. So there's that. The third overseer is now dead. That's pretty fucking crazy.
Sometimes you just gotta like go into an
blind rage,
and just start
killing
squishing some kids up in a vat thing.
Yeah, that's that. And we hear Adam. It's that he is not dead. He is calling out, and he says, "Calvin, my legs! I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs, goddammit. I can't feel them." Looks over and is saying things about Olivia as well, seeing that she's dead. Calvin drags both of them out, and it looks like Adam is about to die. And Calvin says, "No, kid, no, come on. Not you too, not you too." He fumbled around looking for a phone, for a transponder, for anything. And then he felt it. Something heavy in his pocket. He reached in and pulled it out. And dazzling in the light of the sun was a vial of blue liquid, which is a contradiction from before, but whatever.
Whoa,
I had to look past that. He held it out, his heart rate quickening, and he looked down at Adam, who was also now looking at the vial, and he turned back to Calvin. "No," the boy whispered, his voice choked with blood. "No." Calvin shook his head. I'm sorry. Not you too." And he gives Adam the water of the fountain of life, and he is pretty much restored. And he's still, pain shock and a lot of other things. But he takes Olivia, he asks why. Calvin, why? Why? To which he responds, it's almost over. It's time to finish it. And he leaves him with a transponder for the Chaos Insurgency as he takes Olivia's body with him, with the final things that we're hearing from Adam of Calvin. Please, no, don't go. Please, don't leave me here. Don't go. Please, I'm begging you. We can just run away. We can run away and never have to think of this ever again. Please, God, don't go, Calvin. Please, don't go. To which he responds, stay here, Adam. Stay here and the insurgency will come to get you. I'm not going to risk you too. Stay here. I'll come back for you. No, Calvin, please. There's something else. Please don't go. I love you, Calvin. I love you. Please don't leave me. Please don't go. I don't want to be alone again. And that echoes in his head as he picks up Olivia's limp form, puts her over his shoulder, looks back at Adam one last time, and he begins walking away. And then we flash to now again, as we see that one Dr. Sophia Light, 05-2, was the one to give, or I should say, to take the Spear of the Non-Believer from the Foundation's property. And while we are not explicitly told that it is Sophia Light that gave the spear to Calvin Lucian, it is clearly very heavily implied that she gave him the weapon to take down the Foundation. And we are told that Aaron Siegel is going to the Garden of Eden to find the Nazarene, which, another biblical reference. Nazarene in the Garden of Eden. Bringing us one step closer to the end with 05-2. Now this, we open with Aaron Siegel going to the Garden of Eden, and he is challenged briefly by the Gate Guardian of whom I talked about, and he pulls out a reality anchor and he slams it into the ground, and the Gate Guardian folds into nothing and is just a pile of charred bones. That's why I included that. I thought the Gate Guardian was more impactful in this story, and then I was wrong. But SCP-3000 was more important, so that's a wash. And he finds, under a couple of trees, the body of Sophia Light. This is how Aaron Siegel found himself. Standing at the foot of the tree of life everlasting, his feet soaked in a pool of blood, the white corpse of Sophia Light staring up at him behind glassy eyes. A dark stream of blood ran from each of her wrists to the ground beneath her. Laying at her side was a thin silver razor, its edge marked red with Sophia's last breath. He calls for death to take him instead of her. And of course, nothing comes, and he sits next to the body of his beloved for a number of hours before finding a note, reading, Aaron, I am not who I was when we first met. Every time I have walked with death along that quiet road back to your side, I have become less of who I was, and I no longer recognize the thing I am. I'm so sorry, but I can't continue this any longer. I was the one who gave Calvin Lucian our last vials from the fountain, and who put the godless lance in his hand. I saw his path. I saw the red line that draws towards you. I thought maybe I would see him break your convictions, and I would have you as my own again, and undo the mistake I made when I set you on this path all those years ago. But I had not considered how very little of Sophia Light I am now. Nothing stands between you and those convictions now. There are no more distractions, I would hope that this would give you some semblance of peace and a chance to walk away and live out the rest of your life like we might have. I want this for you, even though I know this changes nothing. He is still waiting for you, and you will meet him. Maybe I'll see you again. Maybe I'll be waiting for you on that distant shore. Sophia. From there, he gets pissed and sad, and he starts walking deeper into what is referred to as Old Eden, into like this big meteor crash for the Star of Morning. The Star of Morning, I'm pretty sure, is referenced in other places as where Lucifer fell, as he was that might not be true, but like I think that's where it was, and he picks up a golden sword that I think is probably the Gate Guardian. It could also be the Gate Guardian where it crashed and the other thing was just like a projection of it. That's my other theory. I'm not exactly sure. But he picks up a big golden sword and he goes to fucking kill Calvin Lucian, leaving the saying the scrap of paper, the lines on it so deftly and meticulously applied, fell to the ground and was washed away in the rain.
Okay, so he picks up a golden sword, and then earlier we got that vision where he said it was God, what's his name? Arian?
Yeah.
He kept saying like he's carrying this, all this stuff. So
correct. And there was also the direct reference of Aaron Siegel standing over a dead body with a golden sword in the past.
Right.
So this is the one thing that pissed me off in this story, because as I said, we've been getting these journal entries. I haven't been talking about them directly because I'm tying them into how the story goes with the descriptions of the overseers. They have all been from what I learned is you. We were told in the beginning that the journal was written by a highly ranking or a very important member of the Chaos Insurgency. And as I said, I thought it was A. And there's one thing that I can't say of to why I thought a certain theory, but I thought, oh, fuck, this Aaron Siegel was writing this journal the whole time. Holy shit, that's so cool. I'm so excited to finally learn that. And then the journal ends, yours most truly, the end stated simply ukulele. And there's nothing else about that, and I'm still upset. Because who the fuck is ukulele? Like, everything else is tied in this story. Why is that just some dumb loose end? I don't understand it. There's no answer. I'm just upset about it, and I need you to know.
Okay.
Like, that's the one thing I was waiting for of, like, a cool tie-in. It's just ukulele, and I'm pissed, but whatever. That upset me. That's the only thing I don't like about this story.
Do you think that maybe you missed something?
I certainly could have, but I don't know where. I don't know what it is. If it is, I want to know, but I don't know. And I was gonna like research it, but I was like, we need to get recording. I just finished. Like, this is right at the end. Obviously, I didn't have time. Okay. Anyways, so we cut back to Calvin. He finishes reading the journal with the ending of ukulele, and he brings he's in this cave in the mountains where the Site-01 is, where he's finally going to confront Aaron Siegel. And he leaves both the body of Olivia, who he has taken with him the whole time, and the journal here, bringing only the spear of the non-believer with him, descending into the council. As he hears Adam's voice echoing endlessly in his mind, please, Calvin, please. Please don't do this. Please don't leave me. And he approaches the doors and is simply let in. And he's met with large like carvings and pictures and video of there's multiple links of like different SCPs that
I see them.
I'm not it seems like a lot of them are like big hidden information. A race of humanoids worshiping a dead god is Bigfoot, and how they were intelligent, and how the SCP Foundation killed them all and like brought them to like zero intelligence. Some real fuck shit. There's one that shows the Wanderer's Library. Like, there's just a bunch of various ones in here. I don't think they're inherently important, because then it says these and many more filled out the span. I have a feeling, because I did look, DJ KAKTUS did not write any of them, or at least he wasn't the main writer. So I think they're probably just ones that he likes. Because, like I said, he did write
ones that he likes,
SCP-3000. So I assume that's what this is.
Ones he likes and ones that have like huge implications in them, I'm sure. Of like massive overreach from the council.
Right. So he goes up to what would be the council door, and he's stopped by a very tall, possibly 2-meter tall man, and he says, "I am Purpose, the Red Right Hand." And he says, Calvin says, "I didn't see you in South Africa. I thought you might have stood alongside your comrades." To which he responds, "I am the will of the Foundation, and it is here the Foundation resides." And he thinks he recognizes him, but maybe not. And Purpose says, "To know me is to know the Foundation. My words were its words, and my voice its voice." He says that he's here to kill 051, and he says, "I am tasked with protecting the sanctum until he returns. None shall enter without his word." Which Calvin says, "He isn't here?" Purpose responds, "No, he is here," and opens the door and steps aside for Calvin Lucian. He says, "Purpose, will anyone else be joining us?" "No." "Make sure they don't." "As you wish." And here he goes through another very long hallway. This looks to be actual monitors of like Foundation facilities, like working, like security personnel guarding doors, monster. Like, it looks like these are just actual probable video feeds.
Okay.
And then he sees in another room scenes of himself in all of the moments of his life that had led up to this moment. He saw himself being sent to a youth detention center, rehab, getting kicked out of the military, then being approached by the insurgency. He sees himself meeting Anthony, Olivia, Adam, just going through and then going further into infinity, just continuing onward. And finally, he comes to a staircase to see a man sitting on top of it. He says, "Are you 051? To which he responds, "What?" Or he can't make something out, and he says, "What?" And the man says, "Aaron. My name is Aaron." "Aaron?" Calvin repeated. "Aaron Siegel? 051? "Yes." And then they go back and forth briefly of how 052 is also dead, and he tries to shoot at Aaron Siegel, and what does it say? As they approach Aaron, they hiss and luminescently brightly before dissolving in the air. So he just matrixes them away. I don't know what he does, but he starts doing that, and he says, "Stand up, Aaron Siegel. Let's finish it. Where did you get that spear?" And then after Kelvin doesn't respond, and he hears Aaron laugh and says, "What's so funny?" And Aaron says, "You've traveled across a lifetime to get to this place and find me, and you're going to kill me with a spear? You don't even know why you're here." He says, "I am here because when I kill you, I kill the Foundation. I kill the Foundation, and the universe can heal. You are a cancer." Aaron responds, No, you're like me, filled with righteous conviction, spurring you forward. It wasn't fate. It wasn't destiny. It was a sheer, unspeakable, unknowable force of unimpeded will. You there and me here, in a trillion worlds, in a billion universes, we would find each other here. Conviction has led me to this place, just as it has led you. And he brings out his flaming blade, and Calvin brings out his spear, and then they nod and say, "Let's finish it." And then we have a big battle scene that I will, of course, again be skipping over, other than a couple pieces of dialogue, because now we just start it now. This is the final entry. Overseer 05-1, the Founder. And the fight commences. Pretty cool fight scene. I enjoy it. But like I said, in 053, fight scenes don't matter for plot. They're just cool and fun. And he does go through and say, Calvin, you're an incredible testament to the will of the insurgency. A younger me would have been envious. When I was younger, I made mistakes, costly mistakes. I always thought those mistakes were because my resolve wasn't strong enough. But here you are. Your resolve is every bit as strong as mine, maybe stronger. And here you are, standing exactly where I stood, making those same mistakes. I'm nothing like you, Calvin said. I know what you are, traitor. You were made the engineer of the insurgency, and you betrayed us. For all the power they could give you, you betrayed your ideals for the golden throne and everlasting life. And with that, Aaron looked up and his eyes were sad. I'm not the engineer, Calvin. I never was. Vince Arians was the engineer. We built it together, but he was the chief architect. He wrote Summa Modus Operandi and designed the insurgency as a check against us, against me. You were right about one thing, though. I did betray you. I betrayed all of you, but not to forsake my ideals. A moment came where I had to balance those ideals against something horrible, and they were not strong enough to sustain me. I'm going to kill you, Calvin, but not because I hate you, or because I'm afraid you will usurp me. I'm going to kill you because I'm afraid that your will is stronger than mine was then. I'm going to kill you because if you kill me, you are going to be standing in the exact place I was so many years ago, and you will be stronger. The fighting continues. And then we get the spear caught Aaron in the chest and threw him across the room, pinning him to the stone wall beneath the monitor and in front of the chamber. The broken fragments of the sword fell out of his hand, scattered across the ground. Behind him, where the spear had entered stone, a thick crack now ran up the ceiling. The fire that had consumed the room lingered in a moment longer, and it went out. We have, obviously, a scene of Aaron Siegel dying. Is there anything? Yeah, here. Before he's just dead, he's going through memories and stuff. And Calvin starts with, "It's over. You're the last of them, and now that you're done, this world can begin to heal." And he then responds, "No, Calvin, you really don't understand. I thought so too, but I was wrong. We were wrong. Aryans couldn't see it, but I saw it. He wouldn't understand. I could never tell him, and he died thinking I had betrayed him. I loved him. He was my brother. But he didn't know. It's not enough, Calvin. It's not enough. The cancer, it wasn't us. And it wasn't Frederick Williams. It's the Foundation. It's always the Foundation." And Calvin says, "Enough, it's over. I'm going downstairs and I'm going to finish it. This is the way it ends." Aaron Siegel, in his last breath, responds, "No, it's not." Calling for Sophia, he passes away. Then Calvin, having to descend a chamber that we have seen described before as Aaron Siegel descended a rather long elevator. He meets up with Purpose again and says, "He's dead. I killed him." Purpose, there exists a room in this facility where someone could unmake the Foundation, correct? Correct. I believe it's below the antechamber, isn't it? Correct. Take me there. And the two of them go through the same space that they had seen before. And Purpose tells him, "I am duty bound to tell you that once you've stepped inside this elevator, there is no going back. There's only one decision to be made at this point, and it is not one that can be unmade. Calvin says, I know, it's time, and begins to descend. He comes out in a long room with a very large sweeping window that encircles almost the entire room, looking out the mountainside at sunset. And he sees monitors with all of the dead overseers on them, including Aaron Siegel with a spear shoved through his chest. And in the middle of the room was a rich wooden desk, neatly arranged and clean. The monitor was mounted to it, and on a screen was the Foundation's secure login portal. Calvin walked beside it, and as he took a seat in the high-backed chair behind the desk, he noticed something strange on the far end of the desk, a black metal rotary telephone. This computer then prompts him to log in with biometrics, and it does. He is able to log in. It reads, interestingly, Calvin Lucian, and he sees a map pop up of all of the Foundation sites that are certainly known to him, as well as many that are not, with a single button on the screen. Terminate. Now, I'm definitely just going to be reading some of this here. This is the end, and it's important.
Okay.
Calvin felt the air catch in his chest. He placed a hand on the keyboard, his fingers hovering over the moment of final victory. He took a deep breath, and the phone began ringing. He hesitated, his fingertips a hair's breadth away from the key. He turned toward it to confirm what he was hearing, and the phone rang again and again and again. On the fifth ring, he answered, his hands now acting independently from his mind. There was something robotic about the motion, something instinctual that he could not identify, yet drove him all the same. He picked up the receiver carefully, as if it was something alive, and set it against his ear. He heard only silence on the other end of the line. Hello? A voice crackled over the receiver. It was a man's voice, no doubt. There was something about it that caused the hair on Calvin's arms to stand on end. He felt as though he was hearing something that was both far away and occupying the same space he was. Congratulations are in order, Mr. Lucian, the voice said, its timbre light and tone smooth. You've demonstrated exceptional initiative. It will certainly serve us well. Calvin's pulse quickened. Who is this? Who am I? Please, Mr. Lucian. Surely you've guessed it by now. I'm the man you've been trying to kill. A line of sweat formed on Calvin's forehead. What? What do you mean? I'm the administrator, Mr. Lucian. Something else appeared in Calvin's soul, something like fear but far more primal. That's not possible. The administrator was killed. Aaron Siegel killed him. The voice hemmed softly. No, he didn't. He killed the man called Frederick Williams. Frederick Williams was the administrator. The voice chuckled. It wasn't an unfriendly sound. Again, not quite. See, Mr. Williams was just a man tugging upon a frayed string, slowly unraveling the universe. He found the string, studied the string, categorized it, classified it, and eventually he became it. That is how the Foundation was born. The voice on the other end paused. Frederick Williams saw something larger than himself and planted the seed that would make it grow. Aaron Siegel killed him for it. But part of him is still here. He's still here because Aaron Siegel killed a man, but did not kill the seed. Do you see it yet? He did not kill me. Calvin's arms felt weak. A heavy weight settled across him. What are you? A signature on a document. A suit in a boardroom. A voice on the phone. Mr. Siegel realized the truth too late. Though Frederick Williams was the Foundation's first administrator, he was not the administrator. I am, Mr. Lucian. I exist because of the Foundation, and the Foundation exists because of me. What is it that Purpose is always saying? The voice paused, considering. To know my nature is to know the nature of the Foundation. Something like that. Calvin didn't respond, and the voice continued. Do you genuinely think that Mr. Siegel joined our Foundation for power? That the Foundation seduced him and he fell for its wiles and ways? The voice scoffed. No. He reached a conclusion and made a decision, and at the expense of his ideals. He did it for the same reason you're standing here today, because he wanted to finish the job. Those words were suddenly hostile, but the voice settled again. Then you came along, and after all the warnings, you still decided to put a spear through his heart, the only man standing between myself and all of creation. The voice paused for a moment. And then you picked up the phone. A tiny flash of resistance surged across Calvin's chest. And what if I hadn't picked it up? The voice on the other line laughed. It was harsh, suddenly sound, the sort of noise that wakes you before you even hear it. Don't be silly, Calvin. Someone always picks up the phone. I could still walk away. The words felt like chalk on Calvin's tongue. He knew what was coming. He struggled against the growing weight. He looked back at the monitor and the cursor. It felt so far away. Yes, you could. You could walk away right now. And nobody but you and me would ever know you were here. You could even press that button there. See what it means for the Foundation. Calvin could feel a creeping smile forming on the lips of the disembodied voice. And then, in a few minutes, the phone would ring again. And again. And again. And no one would answer. No one would tell them what to do, Mr. Lucian. When those sites are broken open and the monsters inside are let loose from their cage, billions will die, and then more. The voice laughed again. And I'll still be here. It continued. You said it yourself. I'm a cancer. I'm the anomaly. I was born when the first man saw the first miracle. The emergent conscious of the entire Foundation. Frederick Williams didn't realize what he had done when he did it, but Mr. Siegel figured it out. In time. Who do you think is in the best position to stop that cancer from spreading now? Certainly not Mr. Siegel. He's impaled on the wall upstairs, and you killed the rest of his protectors. Those he charged to continue his work if he ever died. Who do you think will contain me now? Calvin heard himself speaking, but didn't know why. They were evil. Evil? The voice barked. Honestly, Calvin, this has been your greatest failing thus far, believing that you are somehow the moral right. You have just justified your actions because you were doing good and the enemy was doing evil. You never stopped to consider decisions, Calvin, and why people make them. From here, we're going to break because that's a lot of fucking text. Yeah. And then he goes on to, he talks about the different members of the O5 Council and basically going like we discuss all the time, yeah, they're all fucked. They all were not great, but they were doing it for a reason. The accountant needed to play the stock market and get $1 million fucking dollars every 30 seconds for the sake of maintaining the Foundation. Goes through all of the other ones, and we'll cut a little bit further down. And he says, "No, Calvin," the voice said, with a soft, unquestionable finality. "There is no good. There is no evil. You'll find the job has certain perks. Who knows? Aaron Siegel couldn't kill me, but maybe you'll find a way. And sometimes, if you try very hard, catch it in the right light and squint just enough, you might even be able to manage to convince yourself that what you're doing is the right thing. Cheer up, Mr. Lucian. Our work is only beginning." and the line went dead. Here, Calvin sees a dream, a vision of what was once there, and he sees Aaron Siegel standing at the desk with the phone to his ear, trembling. Sophia Light standing next to him, saddened but unsurprised, as he looked at his friend, Anthony Wright, the man who had been Vincent Arians, standing in front of the desk, gun drawn, leveled at Aaron's heart. "Put the fucking phone down," he heard Anthony say. "Put it down, Aaron. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Come on, I won't let you do this." "He has the..." Sophia began. "Shut the fuck up, you whore," Anthony said, hands shaking. "You brought him here. This is your poison. You planned this all along, and you knew what was waiting for him here." He turned back to Aaron. "Aaron, please. Everything we've done, think of it. All the sacrifices we've made, we need to make this right. We need to go. We can still do it. Just put the phone down, please. Put the phone down." And we see as Aaron Siegel cannot, as he understands the task in front of him. The same task that sits in front of Calvin Lucian's face before him now, as he sees one Vincent Arians or Anthony Wright leaving Sophia Light and Aaron Siegel. Neither Aaron nor Sophia moved. The vision faded. Calvin was alone again at the desk. He looked down and saw the gun was sitting on the table. He looked up and saw holes were still in the rock. And then there was the phone, sitting silently on the desk. 30 seconds later, it began to ring, and ring, and ring, and ring, and ring, and ring. And on the 7th ring, Calvin picked up the phone. Moving, as I have shown you before, on this page we click epilogue.
Yep.
And we see a similar site. We see steps 1 through 13, listing 001-13. Opening it, we see 05-13, vacant. 0512, vacant. On and on, until we get to 05-1, the usurper. Caucasian male, formerly Calvin Lucian, with but one file left to access in my little short contained story. The epilogue. And while I may actually read this full thing out at some point, I'm definitely going to give you the cliff notes because we've been going for quite some fucking time.
Yeah.
We see as Calvin Lucian is the new overseer of the O5 Council. He is setting up everything he can to make the Foundation run. He's quite a bit older. And someone brings him a piece of chaos insurgency propaganda. Excuse me. One of the last couple things I'll read. It says, the video opened like all CI props did. The animation of the Foundation logo, Foundation seal being pierced by 3 parallel arrows, forming the insurgency logo. As it faded out, a face appeared on the screen. Calvin had seen it before. Every other time he had to sit down and watch one of these. But each time was no less difficult. It was a man, fully grown, sitting at a table. His blonde hair tied behind his head and his beard neatly trimmed. He was wearing a flak jacket and had a gun in his hand. He was sitting at a table, and in front of him was a small, ornate jar carved of green jade. It was Adam. Brothers and sisters of the reborn insurgency, he said, his voice a bark. Today we have scored a great victory against those who would seek to undermine our reality. Today we have spat in the face of tyrants who would use the unraveling of creation for their own benefit. Instead of seeking to heal it, they have brought their planes out of the sky and smote them from the earth, sending a clear message to their ivory tower. They are no longer safe, that they are no longer free to move about this world as they please. Our strength grows, and with it does our influence. The foundation has been laid low today, but we cannot grow complacent. We cannot rest upon our laurels. We must take this opportunity to strike again where they are weakest. We will cut their supply lines. We will sink their ships. We will derail their trains. We will undo the damage they have caused and make our world whole again. He breaks the jar, which is the soul jar, not explained, not going into it, and continues. There's only one response fitting for fascists and tyrants, brothers and sisters. Our vengeance. He smashes the jar and says, I know you're watching, Calvin. This world that you built, these are your towers, your planes. These deaths are on your hands. I am your red right hand. I am what you were too craven to do. You sit there in the fortress that you should have burned to the ground, but you should not feel safe. I don't understand, Calvin. I've never understood. I trusted you. We trusted you. Anthony, myself, Delta, and Olivia. I've seen what you've done to her. I've seen the puppet you've been parading around and masquerading as an overseer. That's not her, Calvin. I don't know what sort of foul dealing you had to do to get that creature to walk and talk. But I know Olivia, and she died, and that's not her. You're a coward. You're a coward and a traitor, and I will make you suffer every day for the rest of your life for what you have done. I am vengeance. I am wrath. And the screen went dark. And one of the two final scenes we have is of Calvin Lucian, head of the 05 Council, going through the new promotions to new overseers and site directors of the SCP Foundation. And he says, assuming the role of Agent 052 is Olivia Torres, who replaces the former 0513 and overseeing the Department of Occult Studies. And everyone looks to her and doesn't say anything, but is clearly very uncomfortable. And he also doesn't look to her and is clearly very uncomfortable, and begins. And the last scene we get in this story, to wrap it all up, is him sitting, trying to sleep, going through everything that had happened, and he wonders, had this been where Aaron Siegel sat? He stayed up all night until the break of dawn, pushing himself past the point of exhaustion, seeking any new advantage over the bomb they were sitting on. Had Aaron gone complacent in his work? Would Calvin? Would some usurper rise to dethrone him, just as he had? How would he have explained what he has done? How could he explain that there was no other option? Would it matter? And we see, following, he says good night to Olivia, and she is simply some undying avatar of what she once was, simply slowly calling out Calvin to him, but I'm not extending the whole thing. And he says to go to sleep, and neither of them do, knowing that clearly she does not sleep. And in the morning, she was gone, and he was alone again. He got up, got dressed, poured himself a cup of coffee. He opened his computer and began reading through the file again. After the moment, the phone on his desk rang as it had so many times before. And as he had many times before, 05-1 answered. And that is SCP-001, the Ouroboros cycle proposal.
Damn.
That was a beefy one. I do hope you liked it, because I genuinely really liked this book. If anyone liked it, go actually read it. I had to cut out so much, obviously, and it's still really long. That number scares me. But I think that I'm not going to say I'm done with SCP in general.
Puts a nice bow on it, though.
I'm done. It's a real good bow. I think that not only was it just well written, because I do think it was, I think showing the humanity and how it had to fall apart to become the SCP Foundation, I think it was a very good story. I think it's a very interesting story to tell, because it's one of the biggest things that we've talked about when talking about SCP. I know I've said it a couple times already through this podcast, but that is such an interesting dichotomy to actually see them realizing how fucked up they are. But in the end, somebody has to do it. And seeing Adam in that propaganda piece fucking killed me.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah, that's tough.
How Alan sucked reading through it. Like, when I did it, I saw it coming up, and I went to go cover the bottom of my tablet where I was reading it, and I accidentally saw it was Adam, and I was like, fuck, don't do this to me. Shit, that's fucked. But yeah, that's the almost 5-hour tale of one of the possible stories of SCP-001.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And goddamn, I think it's cool. This is one I set up top, possibly up top of part 1 of this 2-part series or more, that I like to assign myself projects that I don't understand how big they are. In the past, when I had been talking about pitching this project, I had watched a couple videos on it. Most of them were like an hour and a half long. And I was like, man, this is a pretty cool, I like this story. This is fun. I think it'd be fun to tell. And then I got really intimidated by it. And over the course of this week, I have fully read this full novel. And fuck, it's just so good. I really, really enjoyed this. It was a lot, but I thought it was so good. Figuring out how everything tied together. Because at first I was going to tell you, hey, read the first 3 parts, because I don't understand how they make sense with the rest of this story. I still kind of don't understand how the Broken God makes sense with it, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I think that one's just kind of a cover-up. I think that's my theory there. But so worth it. So worth the read.
I think you could probably actually just skip the first 3 parts if you want to go read.
You really could.
Because the story is
part 4.
Everything else
100%
may be relevant, but
they are cool. I would say you can skip 2 and 3 with certainty. You should probably read part 1. Part 1 has a lot of setup. Part 2 and 3 are cool things to read. I don't really get how part 2 ties in, and part 3 is mentioned in 056. And that's it, unless I'm missing other references. But reading about the children is the shortest part, and I think it's the only other part that really requires you to read it, because figuring out, or I guess you don't need to, it just makes the story a lot better. That one actively adds to the story, because you get to look back and go, oh fuck, that's who these people were. And then you get to kind of figure that out. But you're right, you don't necessarily need to read it. But yeah, I do hope you liked it. I've been building up to this for a really long time. The fact that I accidentally covered SCP-3000 because I think it's really cool and it happened to be directly tied into this made me want to fucking come. That was so good. You have no idea how hard I was popping off to myself at that point in time. It was
so good. DJ KAKTUS, I just linked you his SCP writer profile.
Oh, you think I haven't already looked at that and his Twitter?
He is ranked #1 overall, just by ratings.
I'm not surprised.
From the community that reads SCP. So
he fucking deserves it. He's really good. The base.
I've heard whisperings that he is George R.R. Martin, writing these stories instead of Game of Thrones, so that he never has to finish that series. Sorry, A Song of Ice and Fire.
I would love that so much.
I've got it figured out, so George. Funny. This is why The Winds of Winter will never come out.
This is why I couldn't get the interview that I wanted.
Yeah.
Because it's actually just George R.R. Martin.
Oh shit!
But yeah,
about Game of Thrones?
That's a you question, my guy. I don't know shit about Game of Thrones.
I know way too much.
Well, unless you have anything to add, my recording's at 4 hours and 45 minutes currently.
4 hours, 44 and 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We hope you have a great rest of your week, weekend, day, and month, and every time, because this is really fucking long.
Yeah, Jesus.
And we hope you've tuned in for all of it, and we really hope you enjoyed it. But for now, I've been Ian.
And I'm always Tyler.
Oh, and this is the SCP Foundation.